So what I will somehow put into the exam. So where have we been last? Let's go through one last time today, and then you should be fit. This one is clear. Characteristics, everyone knows. We had this last week. Advantages, disadvantages. Michael, name 2 advantages. Oh, he's just out. Now you are back in.
Yeah, sorry, my Teams was acting up.
So what are the characteristics? Name me one advantage and one disadvantage.
For question number 3.
ERP, yes. 2. Just for the others.
I have speed is an advantage, information flow improvements, visibility, real-time monitoring, effective quoting, supplier selection comparison.
And also write transparency, speed, integration stuff. So you know that. Good. Standard software is was written.
So we stopped at question 12, I think.
Okay. Then let's go further.
We answered Big Bang and step by step.
Core business systems we had, I remember.
Yeah.
Supply chain, procurement, finance, manufacturing. What are the core applications? Automation, data analysis, reporting, tracking. We had this one. 4 types of architecture. You remember that? Monolithic, postmodern, cost reduction, facilitation in day-to-day management, and strategic planning support. So, but I put them on iLearn so that you can go through, and I'll leave it this time with the question.
Yeah, you put the document without the answers.
Yeah, I have done that meanwhile a bit with Word. So like this, it's not so good if you see it here, like, you know, and then you cannot read that. It's difficult to write, you know.
Yeah, I've been taking notes last session, and I have written down the answers you said for all questions.
I have put meanwhile some bullet points. You see that here, and if you know them, everything is good. And if you want to formulate, then somehow even better. Business process availability, operation workflow, map out as is process as well to be processes, in other words. So it's everything about the process, right? But to understand process, you have to do workshops. What are the on this one, you know, or on premise, you have to buy server, compute, hardware, and network and storage. And you have to build that up on your own. If you use it from the cloud, what do you need? You need a connection, bandwidth. We had that last time, right? No question on this. So we had this one, just top down, centric, electric, bottom up. You see, I have done some questions in between. Is it clear that 3 integrations? I have a picture on this, right? If you remember. ERP integration, synchronized ERP software, other applications and data sources, which can be flowing data, can be data from a CRM system, from a human resource system. Integration gives origins in ERP or other systems. The 4 dimensions: scalability, utilization platform, user account, and functionality. Assessing software with I and their merits in each of these 4 scalability dimensions. I think last time I answered it in written, right? This time you see I have a bit of an explanation. Is that clear to you? Any question on that? So scalability means if you're getting more users, you have to scale up. If it's less, you can scale down, and you do that via subscriptions. And if you order an ERP system with SAP, if a sales guy from SAP comes around, the first questions they ask you if you want to order an ERP systems, beside the topics of integration, are the question of private or public. If it's cloud or if it's on-premise, right? And if it's cloud, it's either private cloud or public cloud. This one here is cheaper and it's easier to handle. A private cloud is difficult, and you have to do updates and upgrades, and you have to do patches. Yeah, and it requires more work. So public cloud for SAP, for ERP system, is easier to handle, and because you're on a platform which will be shared with other clients. So, and how do they find out how many users you have? They ask for FUE, which is full user equity. So what does it mean? If you are linked to, let's say, to one FUE, you have an access to one system. But if you need to have access to more systems, for instance, sometimes employees have 10 or 20 call centers which they relate to if they're working in the order management, then you need more FUEs. So, and the decision maker, for instance, needs 3 FUEs, because he also needs possibilities to monitor something. And this is how they calculate your costs. So it's all about, the FUEs. And if you have access to more than one application, it can be that you have more FUEs. If you have just access to one, let's say invoicing or ordering, then one FUE is enough. But just that you have heard, the sales guys at SAP, they're getting paid about FUE. You remember in IT, you have also the terminology user, but you have also the terminology of port. And if you remember what we have discussed, one port can be an access port on the switch, but user is someone who uses a certain technology, notebook, telephone, etc. And port is a port on a certain device, technical device. Dimensions of ERP you have seen. I have also under that. Scope or size can be viewed, 3-dimensioned, implementation breadth, depth, and magnitude. These are the 3 dimensions, and they can be assessed independently. And yeah, they relate somehow to the project outcome if you finish the project. Using SAP as an example. So these are the dimension. Remember, this is vertical integration, horizontal. So it's for those who have not so familiar with German or have not passed the German test. This production technology. This is comes from BANF, Bedarfsanforderung, which is requisition, sales team, and human resources. So, and if it goes vertical, it goes somehow into the upper management, where you need a view on all the dimensions. So let's see, if you see on top of here, CEO, right, or managing director, they usually require not the deepness of information, but they need an overview of production, of technology, requisition, the sales team, and human resources. So, and this is why such people need then more than one FUE, full user equivalent. Ask me if you have questions, right? If you don't ask, I can't answer. But the logic should be clear, right? And you see here, although it's in German, it's about analysis, it's about making decisions. Decision making can only be happen if you have the transparency on all these fields of business. And it's not enough to have just one view like production or technology or requisition. You need the full view. And the more you go down, right, you have here somewhere the middle management. And these are unit leader. So this is, for instance, what I am in my company. I have one unit, which is the sales unit, right? I have this view here, and I can see how my team is performing, but I have no view on human resources, and I have no view on requisition or stuff, right? The only view I have is the sales view. I will delete that before I put that on iLearn. So ask me if you do not understand. You see here, CRM is a typical sales tool, right? And has something to do with sell, but you also have the in-house administration with finance, with production, human resources. You have planning stuff. And these are called Querschnittssysteme, where you have also databases on knowledge and on document management systems. You will see in this document a few questions on that, which it would be good if you could answer. So, and if you're using e-procurement as same like e-bonding, you're dealing on business to business markets, which means you have business with other partners doing the same in the same business that you are in. So how can they differ on the integration level? What does this have on the situation of ERP system manufacturers? Automated, consistent information. This is crucial, right? Between systems, and by far the most important thing, you need a single source of truth, which you have in a database management system. So this is the only truth, and here you store all the data independent from the application you use. So either if you use human resource tool, if you use the customer relationship management tool or anything else, it's important that there's only a single source of truth and that you do not have duplicates. To avoid that. Also, keep track of inventory for each of the product lines you have in business. So, for instance, if one of these systems are not integrated, for instance, the inventory level, you always have a manual process, which in turn costs you then more time and money. So you're losing effectiveness. And this is what we were saying in the past sessions. the level of integration is critical. Fully integrated systems only allow then for the whole bunch of benefits. If not, you will have again manual process. And I even see that sometimes in our company, where you do manual lists, Excel lists, and words list, which could also come from an ERP system, but if the integration is not fully done, you often see that you still have some manual processes. We had this last time, essential functions, demand planning for your business, which was forecasting, tool set, configure lifecycle, very important, collaborative systems, supply chain, network planning, supply chain service, integration, manufacturing of distribution, and product flow, planning of different of detail, aggregated planning, choice of heuristic, dual optimization algorithm, advanced safety stock algorithm. So algorithms you find everywhere. Even if you do an order with Amazon or on eBay, you will see that you then somehow get customized or offer for your belongings, even if you don't ask for them. We had the 3 dimensions last time. Web application. Remember, if you're interested, I said it last time, have a look on the OZ reference model. If we had this one, we said it was question 12 or ERP and data management system. So this is the source where you store all the stored data. And this is where the ERP systems gets the information from. And you have a database and a database management system. The management system is to manage the database, but database is this single source of truth. Right here. So this system, which has the function to store and to deliver data, has inputs and output interfaces and can be used by everyone. So all FUE users that have access, fully user equivalent. So we have 2 systems within an ERP system, and 2 systems that are very important is accounts payable and accounts receivable. And if you remember what I have said, this is the money you receive for your cash, and accounts payable, this is the money you have to pay to partners, to clients. So this lowers your cash. And if you have accounts receivable, if your clients then do not pay in time, the problem is that you get a cash problem if account receivable is not properly working. And this is the case then if clients do not pay their invoices, as I said, and then you can get massive cash problems. This is what's happening to many companies. And to avoid this, companies have also a department which is called cash collection. And This is in each company the same. So I had it in my former companies, a team of cash collection, and I have it in this company where I'm working now. And this team has been said, they are calling customers asking for the money and for the debts. And these are important to remain your cash flow. So I have put in a picture of a database management system. You see that here. Usually you have 4 types. You have hierarchical, network, and object-oriented database system. And you can differentiate among those. Just to mention, on accounts receivable and accounts payable, these are responsible for the most traffic, because here you get information in and out. So when you see here, data is different as always. Data can be data from customers, can be data from reports, from cash income, cash outcome, and you see here you can have SQL, you can use a cloud database, or you have a distributed one, or you have a centralized one. In any case, you have different type. You can also have hierarchical database or object-oriented, which belongs or relates to a certain application, or you have it hierarchical for providing, let's say, reports for the management. How can the different database management can be used flexibly? So if you have the case that you have different ones, the main thing is that you have to integrate different DBMS, which is difficult and not always possible. So if a client asks or has more than one kind of database, let's guess it's cloud and is an own centralized, then the question is, how can you bring the information of both together? And this has also something to do with integration. I have to admit, it's almost very difficult to read.
So when we talked about this question last week, you said e-bonding.
Yes, especially if you do it with partner. Good point. E-bonding.
Can you quickly explain again what e-bonding is?
Yeah, it is to have the same standard and interface, and it has to be compatible. I make an example. If you use, let's say, a database in the cloud from a partner or someone who has an SAP AL3 system, and you have one, then it's easy to integrate because they're using same standard, same protocol, same interfaces almost, and it's compatible, right? Also with S4HANA. But let's say you have an Oracle database, an SAP, or you have one from Sage or Microsoft, then you need to check if it's working, if the interfaces and if the protocols are working, and if you can connect them somehow, and if the application would do that. So, and to be flexible, as been said, it's almost impossible if you don't have a single source of truth, which we have here, right? If this is not granted, right? How can you then create a proper process with all the information? How can you connect or work?
An additional question.
Yes.
Because you just scrolled up again and I thought I missed something because I was writing. But what are the 4 types of DBMS systems? And then you list 3.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
there are more than 4 and more than 3 database. So you have to differentiate database management system and database, right?
yes.
So database is where you store your data. Maybe not with much logic and not with certain processes or connections or relations to a certain application. You just store data. And with the management system, you can then take over the connection to make the data available for other applications or for other systems or for other standards, right? So the database management system is something different than the database. Often it's both. So if you have a database, you have a database management system on top. But also the database management system needs to be or needs to have the same standards and protocols. It needs to be compatible. Because the different vendors of ERP software, right? They all have their own applications and software to do the management of data, of a database, right? And if you want to connect an SAP ERP system with a partner who using Search or Microsoft, and you want to do business, like business to business partnership, or with a client of you, then you have an issue if you cannot integrate that or if you cannot connect, right? And the same is if you have different database management systems, which sometimes happen. Imagine you have a company who are building, let's say, or who are providing telemedicine solutions or MITs or devices, and you take over one of your competitors, which are in the same business, but have a different ERP system and have different processes, then the question comes on the integration. If you're just using it on premise in one company and you don't change anything, the question would never come up. But if you mix something or you want to do or integrate certain types of databases, it becomes complicated and difficult for these reasons. Standards, interfaces, is it compatible? Has it the same protocol? And does the software work with the other software? I can make an example. Lots of physicians, right, who has a practice or general practitioners who have a certain software, and they want now they have now done an examination and they want to transfer it to a clinic, right? They often try to do it with their software, but it doesn't work because their software and the software of the next clinic where they want to transfer the patients, software is not working, or you have to buy a subscription license. So this is another dimension. Sometimes you need licenses to do so. Even if you connect an SAP system with another system, it can happen that you have to pay a license fee.
Okay, I'm sorry that I am the one always asking the questions.
No, you don't. Very good questions you have. It shows me that you have understood the topic, but you don't need to answer that in the test. That would be too much.
You always say that, but how? So we are working through 20 questions here, and so I still have no idea. Do you know how long the exam will be, in time-wise?
I think it's 90 minutes.
Yes. Okay.
I bet you do it in 30 minutes.
Are you sure about that? Okay. Then
yes, it's not rocket science. If you go through the questions I put on iLearn, you should be able to do it, not easily, but with a good result. But it's more about understanding logic. So if I can see you have understand what the problems are with standards and with protocols and with information and why you need a single source of truth. It's much more important than the rest.
That I understand as well, but I somehow have to convey that feeling to you that you know that I understood this. So when we are working on one of this question, like the question we are working on right now, I have a limited amount of time to answer this, and it's hard for me to filter from the 10 minutes that you're talking about the answer of this question. What is the thing that is the most important from all of that? Because now we have like 10 different arrows that point to stuff.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but look, I don't want to have
I know that you don't want to have that, but you're always explaining it like that.
No, if you show me in 1 or 2 sentences or with some buzzwords that I see you understand the topic, then everything is fine. You see that here it's not more than certain lines or points you can raise, and if you know that I see that you understood the question is the most important thing.
Okay, then let me ask about the style of the exam, because that's also important. Will it be an iLearn exam, or will it be something that we download, fill out, and then re-upload?
Brigitte wanted to check that. I have spoken with her about that. It's kind of a take-home exam, something. You get the question, you answer that, and then you submit. Something like that.
Yeah, but do I answer directly on iLearn, or do I have to fill it in a document?
I think you put it in a document, but I'm not sure if it's on iLearn. I have never done this, but I'm hearing most students in the past semesters did it in a document and transmitted the document.
Okay, then when you know it, could you please let us know?
Yeah, Brigitte will let you know. I have told her to check and to tell you how it will gonna work.
Okay.
Brigitte Hiefinger.
Yes, I
spoke with her about that.
Okay,
good. For you, just to go through the questions. If you don't understand, reach out to me or ask me now. But I think it's not that complex. For me, it's important that you understand.
Yeah, you say that because you do it every day. When you in your head jump from one point that's logical to you because you see it every day, and then you just make the connection to, of course, the accounts receivable and accounts payable are the most important stuff.
Yeah, but this is why I'm always saying, ask me.
Yeah,
which
that's
you do.
what I'm doing.
Yes, exactly, and I like it. So that was clear. Big Bang. I think we had that last time, or?
Yes, that was the question. We ended it.
Oh, was it this one? Okay. So if you do a hard cut, and you always have the problem, the system stands still, you have a major outage, systems are not working, and then mostly they do it on a weekend. But if you start on Monday and you don't have access, it's really worse. So most companies, I would say 90%, does a smooth transition. This is how we call it. Only smaller companies try to do that in a Big Bang, but it's not a good decision.
I just got a warning that this meeting will end in 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, we can extend it a bit, but I have the other students at 3, so let's move on. Process model. So, and I will put this on iLearn, and this time with the answers. Have we had customizing? Customizing is clear, or processes models are important. So the thing is, right, if you have a
professor,
yeah,
please can you go back to number 13?
Yes.
Is step by step the same thing with smooth transition?
Yes, it's the same.
It's also the same as smooth migration.
It's same like smooth migration. It means you do the integration step by step, starting with a few users, with a few departments, with only one department. Look if it's working. If not, you go back. If it's working, you proceed. You have a project plan, and you plan it carefully in advance. And sooner or later, you start in the weekend. And you always have a backup plan if something works wrong.
Are we allowed to Google questions?
Sorry, say again.
Are we allowed to Google answers for questions? Like, because when
if you need to Google that, I would say I don't know how much time yet, but I would expect that you can answer that. You can Google it before, yeah. But if someone asks you, you should be able, from your knowledge, to answer that.
Okay.
So this one you should know without Google.
Yeah, of course. But
and it's logic.
I know. I have never heard Big Bang. I only know the term go live.
Same. It's different word in a different package, but it means all the same, right? If you do a project, it's the same if you make a clear cut in a forest, right? Normally you cut a few trees and wait what happens, but you do not cut everything. So but how you name it, for me, it's important that you understand what it is. How you name it, I don't care.
Okay.
So why are business process and preparation in this context? So you have in each company, even if it's a small one, a certain process. For instance, if you buy something, right, you make a quote, you send an email, and you receive a customer order, and you process it. So you have to check the processes, and you have to align them, or you have to customize your ERP system. It's not that you put in an ERP system and you can disregard each of your processes. So you have to bring processes and ERP together. Yeah, this is a good wording. Bring business processes and ERP together. Alignment is a good wording. So what else? And customize the product sense. It's the same question in a different format, right? You need to customize it somehow, and you will recognize sometimes you have a complex process, and the ERP advisor tells you, "Oh, we cannot adapt your process. Can you change the process?" You insist and say, "No, it's an important process. When I do send a quote out, I print a hard copy and store it there and there." So if you have something special, you need to customize. So it's the same question in a different format. Explain the data what is meant by place in custom composition. So this should be clear, right? You have certain roles, you have certain functions, you have certain processes, relationships. If you have wards in a clinic, you have certain complexities to consider. And if you customize that, it's not enough if you just put in the names of the users and their access to the ERP system. You have always to adapt processes. So the same question. SAP for HANA. This is the latest version, and S/4HANA is basically a cloud solution from SAP. And it's the latest one. So if you buy an SAP ERP system, you will get S/4HANA. You can get it on-premise and in the cloud, but usually the intention of SAP is to bring it to the cloud. It's cloud-based, but some clients say, I want to have an on-premise solution. How in partner documents. So business process documentation is created when building a blueprint. What a blueprint is, I think you should know. It's a plan of something, of processes, of integration. My pen is not working anymore. Where you collect certain information, necessary information, and you have certain activities and processes. So you have operational processes, you have supporting process. Operational is you buy something. Supporting is, for instance, creating a quote for the sales team. And management process is you overlook all the departments and check if they are in line with the targets. Is there any deviation in your business targets? What business process documentation is? So this is a terminology you should know. It's a detailed description of processes, to achieve identified business demand in order to achieve the objectives. And this means keeping the forecast. If you plan something and you say, I want to do this in this business at this and this time, you have a target, an objective. And the point is, if you want to work properly and you want to make profit with your company, you have to somehow keep your forecast and your plannings. And the ERP system is helping with that. You can implement all the key processes. You can develop vision and strategy, put that in the system. You can manage product or service. So strategy would be, where do I buy? How do I sell? Which are my clients? Which are my partners? You do workshops, you sit with them together, and you develop somehow a plan on how you want to work and how you want to make profit. And the ERP system supports you on that. Same for the marketing. This is the CRM tool. And you are managing customer service, especially if you have a service contract in place with one of your clients. 4 components of a process: definition, roles, tools, training. So this one you just can learn, except you have a question on that. And as you can imagine, they are linked to that. The training is always required, not only in an ERP system. What else? Yeah. Business process document, BPD, is a description of a business process, using words, images, and symbols to designate exactly how the process should function in an ideal environment, which reflects your internal business processes. So it's not a document which you print out. It's rather the description and adaptation in the process. So if you see such a question, such an answer is enough. What else? Components of business process management approach, methodology, and technology. So this is how the question on how you do that, and with what. So what technology do you have in place for business process management? Is it an SAP system? Is it something else? How do you approach it, and what will be your methodology? Also here, such an answer is enough. Documentation. There are 4 kinds. Also something we need to learn. You have learning oriented tutorials, which you can watch on your screen. You have goal-oriented how-to guides. So what do I need to do to come to a certain outcome? Understanding-oriented discussions and information-oriented material. This you discuss usually in a group. And this documentation you can get out of an ERP system. End-to-end business process. This is a full process where you have you remember this cycle, right? Where you start with discussion, quote, order, invoicing, order, goods received. If you have such a full process, this is an end-to-end process. How do you manage that? Outside and in perspective. So looking from outside is usually you have an internal perspective, but your clients may have an outside perspective, or the people you are working with, for instance, your partners, and they have a different view. And here this needs also be considered, and you always have to encompass the whole value chain, from raw material to finished product and to sold goods. Yeah. It's working anymore. Finished. You can categorize processes based on their value. So if you are selling high value stuff, it makes sometimes sense to categorize. So for instance, you categorize router switches, certain devices, notebooks, and lower amount values like screens and mouse maybe have a lower value. You can check if they both need the same process. Order to cash. I have written down the answer for you. So this is again to the topic cash collection. So order to cash process is when you get the money from the client. But you see, there are lots of, let's say, steps in between. And this goes again back to the circle. You have to do quotes. Client has to place an order, and has to go to invoicing, and then ultimately client is paying. End-to-end reporting, data of each interaction from time it first comes to the contact center and when the contact terminates. So for instance, if you're in a call center, you have a certain case which you work on, or you are on a help desk hotline, then you can create an end-to-end reporting, or you can get it out of the ERP system. Oh, control function. I have put in a picture for you. This is one window you can open where you can check this scheduling profile. This one is better. And if the client finally receives the goods, you see here on the bottom, you get an automatic goods received. If you would have a manual process, you would deliver something and you would get a signature. You see that if you order something, you get a package and the postman asks you for a signature. This is a manual goods receipt, but you can have an automatic goods receipt if it's then put in the system and the receiver accepts it electronically. Here you see the circle again. I've put that in, right? The pen is not properly working. So here the purchase order, then it goes to the warehouse. There's a goods receipt, and if the goods receipt is there, you can start the invoicing, and then you can check afterwards your numbers. Documents. You know what a document is. However, they are system documents or original documents. It's a link between transaction and the posting in accounting. I have written down the answer for you. You see that it has a certain structure. It needs to be somehow integrated. So I have written that down for you. So it would be good if you could check that what a document is. And I'm not talking only about a written document, which you can print out, for instance, if a deal is done or you have a transaction completed. You also have a systems document. So, and a completed document is when the items balance is to 0. This means you have bought something and you have sold it to a client and the client has paid you. Then the balance is on 0, you have some profit and everything is fine. So document change the business. So the business transaction out of consecutive documents in the system, this is how you can check the progress. And it goes again back to this circle here, where you can check where I am in this circle. What is the next step? But it's always the same logic. You buy something, you quote it, a client has an interest, asks for a quote, sends you a purchase order gets processed. You can see it in the system and you can check here the documents and you can see the whole process and the steps it has to do. Packing, cross-company, goods received, intercompany billing. And you see all steps that are completed. And if not, you see here, not cleared. Accounting document, right? There's a missing document. Could be a signature or something. So, and that's it. I put that on iLearn. If you have problems or issues to read or question, reach out. I know I do not always look into my email account, but then send it to my T-Online address or something, or give me a ping, and then I will try to help you. Otherwise, I think.
Hi, Stefan. You say you put this new document or this updated document on iLearn?
Yes.
You did that today?
Yeah, I can do that today.
All right. I just want to ask, would it be enough to be able to answer all of these questions? Would that be enough to pass the exam, or
Yes.
Should we expect something outside of these questions?
No. If you understand all these questions, you can pass it.
If we have answers to all these questions, we can pass the exam.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
But you have to understand the questions. That's a prerequisite.
Do you understanding part is really.
It doesn't make sense if you just learn. I mean, it would help you to pass, but in essence, it's important that you understand the logic behind. Then you don't need to learn this because you can answer it with your own words.
Yeah, but it is also hard to understand the complete process when we have never seen the system.
Yeah,
that is really because I have no idea. You said you can open this window. I have no idea from where or in what
you don't need to know that. The only thing you need to know is that you are able to check where in the circle you are, and you always have the possibility. I show you. No. Remember, I had a circle, huh?
Yeah, but that's what the circle was in the presentation.
It was in the presentation. Look at this circle, and at each point you can check in the system. Is the goods are they delivered? What is the next step? Did the client pay? Where I am in this circle? And if you understand this logic, you can almost answer each and everything. Yeah, it was in the presentation. You're right, Michael. Have a look on this. And the ERP system helps you to get each information at each stage of the circle. In the buying process, in the process where you order something from your partner and which you then refine or sell it to another client. You send out a quote. Client accepted the quote, sent you a purchase order. You always can look where I am, what's been happening, and what is the next step. This is the transparency, and you can look into each document, and then you know where I am. And if you're at the final stage, right, like here, you don't need to know how you open that because you will never working on such a system. But the only thing you should know is you can see the document flow, where I am in the process, what's happened in the meantime. It's picked up, it went cross-country. Goods received is client has received something and has confirmed the delivery. Intercompany billing means you have sold something intercompany from one department to the other, and it's completed. So the only missing is here a document. I just want to say to you, at each point in the circle, you can check what the status is. That's the only thing I want to let you know. I need to go into the next section with the other students. Reach out to me if you need another half an hour. Then send me an email on THD, and we do another preparation if you think you have an issue.
We will prepare and then let you know if we have
let
any
me know
questions.
if you say, oh, I'm feeling still not really good. Can you explain this and this? We make another session and let me know. Even if I read the email 3 or 4 days later, we still can do it before you do the test.
Okay. Thank you for the semester.
Okay, guys, take care.
Thank you,
Wish you all
Stefan.
the best. Good of luck.
Bye.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.